Champion Forest Kids leaders. Welcome to the Kids Ministry Podcast, and all of you other kids ministry leaders out there from other churches. We are so glad to have you here today. We are excited because we have a special guest with us, and she is a fan favorite of Champion Forest.
For sure.
My favorite place to be.
Oh, yes. This is Paola Salcedo, and she is a counselor at Benfer Elementary here in our school district.
Yes, I am.
And we, Champion Forest, partner with Benfer, and we love Benfer as well.
Yeah, they're
so we are so excited to have her here with us today. She recently did a training at North Klein and at Champion Forest called our Winter Huddle. So those of you who missed it, good news. Here she is. And for those of you who are like, we want to hear more, we got her back.
Yay. What an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. All right. So we want to start out talking about the brain.
Okay.
You have a lot of knowledge about the brain and 3 parts to the brain that you
Yes.
kind of talk about. Tell us about that.
Yes. So when we talk about the brain, we talk about the systems, and it's purely in relationship to behavior. When we understand how the brain works, survival, emotional, and executive state, and we can recognize how behavior or where behavior comes from and how we can address it for ourselves as well as any person who's in front of us, especially kids. For example, when we talk about the survival state has only 3 skills, which is fight, flight, or freeze. In other words, when we see behavior in front of us, a child that is having a tantrum, throwing themselves on the floor, screaming, hitting, kidding, biting, eloping, which is very, very
Common. We see it all the
now.
time here at Champion
Sure
Forest.
right? Or a little bit more extreme, throwing chairs, flipping tables, which is more on the rage side. We know and we understand that that child is in the survival state, meaning that part of the brain is saying, do I feel safe? And it's more than physical safety. It's the emotional safety is, I don't feel safe, right? And as adults, as educators, as volunteers, sometimes we make that mistake. We try to reason with somebody who's in the survival state without realizing that we actually trigger that behavior more, because what we're saying or what the child might perceive is, I don't feel safe, and here you are trying to reason with me. Now I'm going to amp it up because now I feel triggered even more, right? So when we understand how the behavior looks like in that state, then we know that we have to stay calm as the adult, because when we think about it, even us as adults, when we have a moment where we're about to lose it, having somebody that's next to us that we love, being calm enough, downloading that calmness, and as believers, praying for us in that moment, just let us be guided by the Holy Spirit. It will be felt. And that's when we understand that, then we know that that behavior is happening in front of us, not to us. And that helps us also not take that behavior personally.
Which is easy to do.
Yes.
It's easy to do,
Yes.
especially when we have people that we love in front of us. It's easy to get triggered, right? I mean, and it goes more and beyond about children, our own personal children. I have Sebastian, my oldest one, who works here at the church too. He is my biggest testimony and my best teacher for me, have to learn these skills, because I realized pretty quickly with him that I needed better skills to have for me to raise the child, but I needed to become the adult I wanted him so desperately to be, which I realized I didn't have the skills.
And that's what we want our leaders at Champion Forest is to begin to develop some of those skills, because it's so easy when you're only in a classroom, let's say every other Sunday, or once a month on a Wednesday night, and there you are, and this child is in this fight mode.
And you're experiencing all the things, or maybe it's the table flipping in the moment, or maybe they've run out the door, they've eloped, and you don't know what to do, and you become frustrated.
Yes.
Maybe your heart rate rises. Maybe you're just like, I just need him to do this one thing. Just sit here and do this one thing. But that's not how it works, because that's not what state their brain's
And it's
in.
easy to take it personally.
It is very easy to
very
take it
easily.
personally. But on the flip side as well, research says, do you know how long it takes to truly make an impact on a child?
How long?
It takes 90 seconds.
Ooh,
Wow.
90 seconds.
It takes 90 seconds.
I thought it would have been longer. What did you guys think?
I mean, when we think about relationships, it would make sense, right?
We can it takes 90 seconds to make an impact on a child.
Yes.
That's
90
incredible.
seconds.
Wow.
So when we truly understand how the brain works and we know how to address behavior, we can have a lasting impact on our children. And we don't realize that because it takes a lot to understand ourselves first and our triggers, right? So, and then that's actually a little bit that takes me into the emotional state. The emotional state is our limbic system where all our emotions are housed. And our tool set in the emotional state is our own personal inner speech. And our inner speech actually comes from the way we were raised. Because when we talk about research says that kids 8 years and under don't have an inner speech.
Really?
Yes,
I
that's
didn't know that. I'm learning all kinds of things. Okay,
even
kids
more.
8 years and under don't have an inner speech.
that's why they're so blunt and they have no filter.
Well, that makes sense.
So I'm guessing you guys had the experience too. Yes. When you have a bad hair day and they're like, why do you look like you had such a bad night? Or on the flip side, when you come with makeup and your hair's like, where are you going? There's no filter because they don't have that inner speech, which also says that in order for us to self-regulate, we need our inner speech because the person we talk to the most is ourselves. It's ourselves trying to self-regulate, talking to ourselves. Calm down, Paola. Take a deep breath. Cálmate. Tú puedes con esto. That's what I tell myself all the time. But kids 8 years and under don't have that. So what happens? In order for them to self-regulate, the adult is the one who becomes that second person.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So if you think about when you make a mistake, right? Just reflect for a second. What is your first instinct? What is your inner speech that comes to your mind? And if you think about it, it is how your adult growing up handled your mistake because they became your inner speech. So when we were raised, and us, not you, Olivia.
Wait, what are you calling us?
I'm calling us the 70s babies. Talking about us, the 70s, 80s. We were raised with suck it up, buttercup. I mean, nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
You're okay. You're okay.
You're
Are you
fine.
bleeding? Are you dying?
Yeah,
No,
rub
you're
some dirt
good. You're
on
fine.
it. Let's go. Keep moving.
Which basically, that is our inner speech. So when we make a mistake, it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. When clearly we're not. But that's what it takes a lot to rewire our own brain in order for also to handle mistakes and become that positive and wire the brain in such an optimal way for our children to have that positive inner speech.
Okay, can I ask a question right
Absolutely.
quick? Okay, so let's take our leaders who may only see their kids once a week. Can they be part of that wiring of the brain by speaking
Absolutely.
life? Okay.
And here's the thing. When we have somebody that sees a positive intent for a mistake that we make, it has such a bigger impact because our brain tends to think about the negatives part because our emotional state is wired to the right hemisphere of prefrontal lobe, meaning that our emotions go to the prefrontal lobe charged with emotion. And the right hemisphere, it's all the negative talk. Blah, 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 blah. Nye, 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 nye. And that's when we have to fuse the left with the right.
Is that why some of our right sides are a lot bigger? We look like we got to grow them.
We walk like
heavier.
It's a little heavier. So yes, the impact that we can have as leaders of just giving that positive intent behind a mistake, they start seeing themselves in a different way. Right? Because, think about it. When you made a mistake, even now, and somebody comes with empathy and even makes up a positive intent, you were hoping to have a better result. It just helps you stop and say, no, but wow, how amazing that person was able to see the beauty in me. And that helps us because the person is not going to change unless we see them differently.
So true.
Right? And we don't have that nowadays. Our kids, all they hear is, we tell them all the time what not to do, what not to do. And we don't think that the brain thinks in pictures. Let me give you an example. If I tell you right now, don't think what you had for lunch. Don't you dare think what you had for lunch. What comes to your mind?
What I had for lunch.
But I told
Crackers.
you not to. I told you not to. So even if we have the ability to completely not think about what I told you not to, right? It's still, the brain is so fast, the picture's already there. Now, kids 8 years and under that don't have that inner speech, their brain does not understand negation, so they cannot. So when we say don't run, what do they see?
Running.
Running. When we say don't hit, what do they see?
Hitting.
No biting.
No biting. No screaming. So we're focusing on the behavior, and guess what? We're going to get more of that behavior because 8 years and under, the brain is not ready to understand that negation.
Wow.
Yes, because
That
of
is
the fact that they
That's
don't
awesome.
have that inner speech.
So I need to set my expectations appropriately for the age group I'm with.
Absolutely. And even for us as adults, I mean, how many times do we tell ourselves, oh, I shouldn't do this? Oh, I better not do this. And it's funny because even with my own children, when they say, I'm not going to do this, my question is, so what are you going to do? And sometimes it's annoying to them because it takes a lot of effort, but because it's easy to say, I'm not going to do this. Okay, so what are you going to do? What are you going to focus on?
So we have to
that's
change our
so- changes your brain.
expectations and your language.
And that's fusing left and right, talking about the executive state. So the executive state is not on until age 4. Meaning that our volunteers that work with kids 4 and under, you can wire their brain where you can give them the language, but we cannot reason with a 4-year-old. Because if we try to reason, we're going to get spit, we're going to get hit, we're going to get bitten. Because it might be intimidating for us to get into their personal space and trying to reason when the brain is not ready to do that.
So what do we do?
We connect the brain from the survival. Take a deep breath. You can handle this. You've got this. You seem frustrated. You wanted a toy. Ask Olivia, may I have the toy? So we have to be very specific of what we want them to do and give them the words. We don't reason. We just tell them what to do. And with kids, obviously 4 and under, some are nonverbal, but they still know how to communicate. So we have to give them an alternative of give me please to when they want a toy, because we know that 4 and under, that's mostly the main conflict. Not wanting to share toys.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay. We've heard you talk about connecting with kids and like there's some powerful ways that we can connect with kids. And we really want our leaders to have those connections because they're so impactful. Well, like in 90 seconds, you said. So teach us how to do that well.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So when we talk about connection, and that goes into the emotional state, because the emotional state asks, am I loved? Right? And we see this all the time because the trigger for the emotional state is the world is not going my way. Right? So if you think about it, did the world not go your way today?
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, it's those triggers. I know it did for me because my alarm was set at 6 a.m, but my body decided to wake up at 4. So I was like, oh. And those are the things that it trigger our emotional state, because when our emotional state gets triggered, our inner speech takes over, right? And when we think about those moments of anxiety that happen, what do we tend to do? We want to connect with a person that we feel safe with. For example, if you get into a car accident after you called the insurance and the police officer, who do you call?
Yeah, Rick.
You called Rick. He's your person, right?
Actually, I call him before everybody else.
Or that. Because he's that person for you.
Yeah.
He's going to be the person that's going to say, are you okay? Provide that comfort. Give you that safety, so now you are calm enough to handle the hard situations of calling police officers, calling insurance, and dealing with the person that either hit you or you hit them, right? So creating those connections is important because that's our person, that's our safety net. So how do we create those connections? There's actually 4 components that are the most important to create connections, and that's eye contact, touch, presence, and a playful situation.
Okay, let's say that together.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
here
do
we
it.
go.
You're going to do it with me. So we're
Okay.
going to say eye
Contact,
touch, presence,
presence,
in a playful situation.
playful
Playful
situation.
situation.
Eye contact, touch, presence, and a playful situation. Okay.
And those are the 4 main ingredients to connect with somebody else. Even us as adults. I mean, if you think about it, right? You go on a date. Not yet. With your significant other or with your spouse. As you go on a date, you look for those ingredients, right? I mean, you're sitting across, eye contact, and then you're going to be like, touch you. Presence,
Yeah.
right?
Are they paying
Meaning,
attention?
I'm going to pay attention because I'm like, keep talking.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm on my phone. What I'm saying or the message that I'm conveying is what you're saying is not important enough. And that's not having the presence and having it in a playful situation. Because if I give you the example of like, Stephanie, am I having eye contact? Yes. Am I having touch?
Yeah.
Am I being present?
Yes.
Am I being playful?
No.
No.
You don't want to be around you right now. What did I do wrong?
Serious. And I don't know if you guys were able to see, but her face was like,
I know, our face
eyes were wide. So it is very important to be very conscious to have those 4 ingredients to connect because that's going to give us safety in our brain to, okay, I am your person. When you make a mistake, you're going to feel safe enough to come to me and even correction. Because if we think about it, and say this with me, I'm going to say it first and then you're going to say it with me.
Okay.
Connections on the outside, meaning touch, eye contact, touch, presence in a playful situation. Connections on the outside literally wire the brain for impulse control and willingness.
So think about in our classrooms.
Yes.
Like when you're connecting and you're doing that, you're wiring it for, what'd you say? For
Impulse control and willingness.
and willingness. Like, isn't that what we want to see in our classrooms? Impulse
Absolutely.
control and willingness.
Yes. So say it with me.
Okay.
Connections on the outside.
Connections on the outside.
Wire the brain.
Wire the brain.
Literally.
Literally.
For impulse control
For impulse control
and willingness.
And
willingness.
So if we think about it, another example, because I also, when we talk about the brain and we talk about behavior, it's also understanding ourselves because it is a mind shift change. It's not about how can I make a child behave.
Right.
It's about having the skills for myself so I can teach the skills. I cannot teach something I don't know, right?
We believe that.
Yeah, we do.
So understanding, I'm going to give you another example. Let's say you're sitting, not yet. You're sitting on the
Sorry,
couch.
Olivia. This is a PG conversation. You're still G.
You're sitting on the couch with your husband. Your relationship is phenomenal. You are having the time of your life. You're having connections. You are in the prime of your relationships. And you're just watching a movie. And you stop the movie and you stand up and your husband says, "What are you doing?" And you say, "I'm going to go get a glass of water." And he says, "Can you get me one too?" What would you say?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See? You don't even have to say it. Of course.
Do you want something else too?
There you go. See?
I was going to say popcorn, but I was,
Would you like something to eat? I can make it for you. I mean, that happens, right? When we have a solid foundation, a good relationship happening. Now, let's say the same scenario, but you just had the fight of your life.
Why am I giggling?
Because you know where I'm going. You had the fight of your life. And same scenario, you're sitting next to each other. You pause the movie. You stand up. He says, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to go get a glass of water." "Can you get me one?" What do you say?
No.
No way. Get
Get your own water.
I don't even have to finish it. I'm learning so much. So what happens? That comes back to say that when our relationship is not safe and we don't feel loved, there is no willingness. There is no impulse control.
Or self-regulation.
Because our words are faster, and our face is probably faster than. Wait, let me take a deep breath and whoops. So again, when we have those connections, it wires our brain for impulse control and willingness. And it takes 90 seconds. And even less, we can build up to that when we think about how can we take every opportunity to connect with our students in the classroom? It's greeting them at the door. Because if you have an apron of choices or you just have pictures on the wall for the kids to choose how they would like to be greeted, it's a 5-second connection where they have eye contact, touch, presence in a playful situation. And 5 seconds of connection where it's like, good morning, I'm here. You've got this. I am your person. That creates that safety and that connection and that love, that sense of belonging. Because when we have that sense of belonging, the willingness and the impulse control will be there.
We say rules minus relationship equals rebellion. And it's kind of like that. It's that relationship. But you've taught us how to have that relationship, that connection.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So if we even want to relate it biblically, right, to the Old Testament and the New Testament, the Old Testament, we had all the rules, the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
Right? And if we want to compare it to the New Testament, why did Jesus come?
Yes.
So we could have that relationship. And because of that relationship we build with Jesus, we are now willing to follow the rules. Not that we're going to be perfect at it, but because of that relationship, because I understand that God had that grace with me and I have been forgiven. Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to be of service and I'm going to use my talents to serve him. So if we want to compare it to the Bible, it's to me, it's very, well, with this, it's kind of self-explanatory. Now that if I build the relationship with you, you're going to be more willing to follow the rules. And if you ask my kids, well, one of them is present here, is that when I am not willing to connect with my own personal children, for them to be willing to follow the rule is almost non-existent, right? Unless I take my time to connect and build that relationship and then ask for, hey, we are a family, we're this together, I need help. The willingness is going to be more there.
Yes. Wow. And it's the same in our classrooms.
It is.
So, and here's what happens sometimes in our classrooms. Like our teachers, and we tell them this, we ask this of them. They love to teach the Bible, okay? And they are in it to teach the Bible. And that's what we want, right? But for a child to be willing to learn God's word, to read God's word, to process God's word, that relationship's got to be there, that connection, all those different pieces. And
Absolutely.
so I think as leaders in kids ministry, we've got to take that first step and make sure we're connecting. Oh,
Absolutely. And if we talk about the brain, we can only teach from the executive state and we can only learn in our executive state. But in order for us to be in the executive state and expecting our students to be in the executive state, they have to feel safe first. And the connection has to be existent before I can even teach. And also, we can teach something over and over and over again, and we can repeat for about 200 times before the brain says, okay, check, I get it. Or we can do it 20 times and play.
oh yeah. Say that again. Say that again. I love this. I've heard you say this before.
And this is brain research.
Yeah.
So we have a choice as adults too. We can teach something in routine in the same context 200 times.
200 times. That's a lot of times.
That's a lot of
Yes.
times. I mean, if we think about it, we have how many weeks in a year? 52?
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's like 4 years, once a
Times
week.
a day.
in the same context. That is our choice before our students can say, okay, I get it now. Or we can do it 20 times and play.
That's so awesome.
Isn't it?
That's why when we teach the Bible, children need to be playing, they need to be doing. That's why we say engage with children as they're learning. Yes.
And have that play because they're going to understand it faster 20 times, 180 times less.
Yeah, and that'll save us a lot of time.
It will save time. There you go. Time saver tip of the year.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Well, you have a little play thing that you taught us at our winter huddle.
Yes.
Can we learn that?
Absolutely.
It's a little, because what we can do if we learn that here, we can take that and translate that into biblical or, Bible verses or Bible thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to say the words first, and then I'm going to say them first, and then you're going to repeat them after me. So I'm going to say the whole thing first. It's called 10 Horses Came to Town. So it goes, 10 horses went to town.
10 horses went to town.
5 were black.
5 were black.
5 were brown.
5 were brown.
They galloped up.
They
Galloped up.
They galloped down.
They galloped down.
And then they galloped out of town.
And then they galloped out of town.
And then we're going to make that noise with our tongue.
I like that part.
Okay, so we're going to do it together again. And then we're going to turn around and do it with a partner. And we're going to ensure that we have eye contact, touch, presence, in a playful situation.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. And when we do 10 horses, sorry,
She's ready.
to go. When we do 10 horses, we're going to clap.
Oh, clap.
Like this.
I get to be your partner.
Okay, so we're going to just pretend right now,
Okay.
and then we're going to do it with a partner.
Perfect.
So 10 horses went to town. 5 were black, 5 were brown. They galloped up, they galloped down, then they galloped out of town. You did it. All right, now turn, and we're going to do it with a partner.
Okay, here we go.
All right, ready?
10 horses went to town. 5 were black, 5 were brown. They galloped up, they galloped down, then they galloped out of town.
Yay, we did it! Did you guys have eye contact?
We did. Oh, yeah, we
Did you
did.
have touch?
Yes.
Present?
Yes.
Playful?
Yeah.
Yay!
We're really connected. Oh, yeah.
So, and we can do it with anything as long as we have those 4 main ingredients to have connections. I mean, even if we think about when you try to connect with your dog, your dog does not understand anything that you're saying. But that eye contact and that touch, you go like, or with our babies, it's the intention that we come and want to connect with our kids.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, kids ministry leaders, we want to make a conscious effort. Well, first of all, I'm going to kind of review a little bit. We want to speak life for those that do not have that internal speech, right? And then we want to be the safe place for any friend that comes. And then we want to make the connection with our eye contact, our presence, our
Touch.
and our play. Yeah, I like the play part. And make that connection with them. Yes. And Steph was thinking about something that she heard you say one time.
Yeah. Also, at Winter Huddle, you shared different ways that kids can be motivated. They can either be motivated to please you, or they can be intrinsically motivated.
Yes. So when we talk about that internal speech, we tend to, and I know we hear this often as teachers, me being a teacher and a counselor, and you guys probably heard it too in different trainings, to positively reinforce behavior. Because when we focus on good behavior, we're going to get more behavior, right? What we don't know, or what I'm going to encourage you to take it a step further, is that we make that speech, because we create that inner speech, all about them. Because when I say, I like the way you're sitting, right? It seems like, and it sounds like, I'm reinforcing good behavior, right? In reality, who's the focus on?
You.
It's on
Because
me.
you like the way she was
Because
sitting.
I like the way that she's sitting. So what I'm not realizing is that unconsciously, the message that I'm giving is I'm only going to like when you please me, right? So when we talk about and when we reflect about kids 8 and under, and we're creating that inner speech, we're actually wiring the brain to be people pleasers. Now, here's the thing. As educators, as parents, we love it, right? Because we get compliance right away. We do. However, we don't realize that we're taking the self-worth and their self-esteem away. And this was a big aha for me. We are important to them, adults, whether parents or teachers. We are important to them until they are in about 4th and 5th grade. Yeah. After 4th and 5th, who is important to them?
Their friends.
Their friends. Now, here's the thing, and this was a big aha moment for me, especially having 2 daughters. Now their brain is wired to be people pleasers, but they're not going to please us anymore. And we are humans. I mean, our brain, God created our brain to be connected. We are social beings. That's why we have marriages, a man and a woman, because, 2 become 1. That's how we were created. So now that sense of belonging that our kids so desperately want and seek, they're still going to look for that. But now they're going to please their friends. And if they don't have or don't choose the right friends, the positive, uplifting, or kids that have the same beliefs, they're going to do an experiment with their lives just to have that sense of belonging. Yes. And that's hard. So shifting it to what can we do, right? Because we need to know what to do.
Yes.
So when we do focus on encouraging and uplifting and focusing that positive behavior, we're going to notice. So when I talk about notice, what does that mean to you guys?
Like what
Observe.
you
You see something.
Observe, see. Now, here's the thing, though. We can only notice as adults if we are in the executive state. That means we have to feel safe. We have our emotions in check. And now in my prefrontal lobe, I am completely present enough to notice you, right? Why is this important? Because our language, the way we communicate, our body is faster than what our brain can process. In other words, what you feel or what you think, I'm going to be able to see it faster than you becoming conscious of it.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So when we see our students go with their face like this, they're not conscious of it. But I can see it. So I'm going to notice and I'm going to bring awareness to it. Your face is going like this. Your face is saying, I feel angry.
Here's the thing, though. I've got to be in my executive state. When I see the student's face make the, furrowed brow, if I'm in my emotional state, I would be like, why are you looking at me like that?
When the judgment comes out.
Yes. Okay. All right.
And that's why we have to be in check and be in our executive state to be able to be present and notice.
Okay.
Because when we are in our emotional state, our brain gets blocked with judgment. So we're not going to be able to notice, and we're going to take it personal. So it's both ways. We can prevent behaviors from happening, but if we also want to reinforce the behavior that we want to see, and I don't want to say good behavior because that's again judging good and bad. It's the behavior that we expect is noticing what they're doing, and that's basically just describing, right? If I want to notice Olivia, I'm going to get into my executive state. I'm going to take a deep breath and be completely present.
Wait, hang on. Let's pause. Can we pause a second?
Yes.
You've said this a couple of times. I think we need to teach our leaders this. To get in your executive state, to be fully present, you said, I need to take a deep breath. Tell us about that.
Okay. So in order for me as the adult to be in my executive state, I have to be aware of myself, right? So I am going to soothe my survival and my emotional state so I can connect to my executive state. So I'm going to take a deep breath. And here's the important part when we talk about breathing. We have to be completely conscious that we take belly breaths, not chest, because our diaphragm is right here. And the job of the diaphragm is bringing oxygen to our brain, which automatically already helps us calm down.
I'm over here calming down.
You can't feel. I'm deeply breathing. Belly breaths.
And that helps us as adults also rewire our brain to be in our executive state. So I'm going to take a deep breath. And that is when we talk about behavior, we don't have time. Well, that's what we think, we don't have time. But that's the moment that is the most important, because when behaviors happen, again, how we approach is with calmness, right? And willing to solve, we have to be in the executive state, and it takes time. And because this is new to so many of us, it's going to take even longer the first time. I mean, I'm in my journey with this for 17 years, and I'm still practicing. Situations happen in my life, and Sebastian, my oldest son, being 20, and I tell him all the time, he is my guinea pig, because he's the one who is in first situations always the first one. So I'm like, sorry, puppy. And I tell him now, I get him ready, because I mean, at some point he's going to want to get married. So I'm going to learn probably with him how to be a mother-in-law, and I'm going to have to help to self-regulate myself with So situations are going to happen with me all the time, where it's just opportunities to keep on self-regulating and focusing on what I want. So
okay, so you were going to describe Olivia. I'm sorry I interrupted, but you were getting in your
no, but we're going to do this together.
Oh, okay.
So we know what our inner speech should be.
Okay.
So we're going to take 3 deep breaths, and this is where we're just going to take our time. In your nose, inhale, and exhale. Take a deep breath in, and out. And one more time, take a deep breath in, and out. This calms my inner state and my nervous system. Then I'm going to connect to my emotional state, where I say, I feel safe. I've got this. I can do this. In my executive state, I'm going to see the behavior in front of me, not a personal attack to me. And what I do at that moment, I wish the child well, or because I'm a believer, I pray at that moment, because when I wishing well and praying can only happen from the executive state. So that's how I keep myself in check, that I'm in the executive state. And it takes time, but the more you practice, the faster it gets for you to keep yourself in the executive state. So I'm going to get in my executive state so I can notice Olivia. Olivia, you're sitting and your hands are like this. Your fingers are moving like this. And now your face went like this and your smile went like this. Your body is saying, yep, I got it. How did you feel?
I don't know. At first I was nervous because you were staring at me so intently, but then I was like, oh, this is kind of funny.
And it feels good. You probably were like, yes, I'm doing it. And when you moved your head like this, because it was a reaction of your body, you probably were not conscious that you were doing it, because your body moves faster. You're not conscious, but I was able and willing to see, because I'm in my executive state. And then it brought awareness to you. So when I brought awareness that your face went like this, and I described it, what did you feel, or what came to your mind?
I just smiled bigger because you noticed what I was doing.
And that's what it's all about. It's noticing. And we all, as human beings, we want to be seen. So we're focusing on what you are doing rather than what you're doing to please me. And we want to wire the brain in a way where it's like, and that brings the intrinsic motivation to do what is right, not because I have to please you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that increases your self-worth and your self-esteem.
And your self-esteem. Yes.
Yes. So when I say to a child, well, it's hard. It's hard to make yourself start thinking about this. Ever since you've taught us, I'm like, I try to think, you are doing this, you are, and just describing, like, you are listening.
You have to remove I from there.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's hard because we have to be in the executive state. And it's hard because we are so used to judging, and judging not necessarily means negative. It can be also positive, but it comes from the emotional state. And the emotional state says it is conditional love. It is not unconditional love, because the executive state is the only part where we can truly love unconditionally, because it is not a feeling. It is a choice.
Yes. Okay, this is what I've noticed about this since I've been working on it. Because when I'm describing them, that's what's creating that intrinsicness, right? But okay, so here's my thing. When I'm describing them, I feel like I'm not saying anything great. Does that make sense? Like, you're smiling. You are listening. But I feel like I should be saying, you have such a beautiful smile.
But it's beautiful too.
It's a judgment.
Yeah.
Right. It's a judgment.
Let me ask this.
Help me.
Let me ask this. When she noticed you, like you're smiling, I noticed it, but I want you to explain what was the feeling and what was your thought when she noticed you?
She noticed I smiled, so she enjoyed my smile. And it was a connection. I'm smiling and she's smiling. And so it was a connection between the two of us.
So it is more, it's your inner speech saying, I need to do more.
Okay.
But I think what you're not realizing is what you already are doing and how she felt already connected to you just by noticing that you smiled.
Yeah.
And so that's better for kids getting under, because they don't have that inner speech to say, oh, they just hear, oh, I smiled.
And it's a genuine connection because you notice, and it's a genuine connection rather than wanting to do more. Like, oh, but you're so, like, I have to say something beautiful, extra.
And meaningful and deep.
And deep. And it's not. It's just noticing because her brain already perceived the fact that you wanted to connect, and it was a moment of genuine connection.
Okay.
Just because you noticed.
Just because I noticed. Wow. Okay. Because I've been practicing even in text, right? And so I'll find myself saying, I want to throw in a so something, or like, for example, you are so helpful, but I just need to say, you are helping.
Yeah, that was helpful.
Or yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing the thing. I'm trying,
Yeah.
But it does feel different, and it is a rewiring. You're right.
It is 100%.
Yes.
Especially when you've been trained to say it the other way.
Yes.
You're totally rewiring everything you've been taught. Yeah.
But we can do it, kids
Yes, we
ministry.
can.
Yes.
We want to notice. We want to notice kids, and we just want to say what we notice about them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that is the connection. They will get intrinsically what they need when we are noticing, not judging.
Absolutely.
And not putting value to it, as it's better or less than or whatever, but just simply noticing.
Just allow them to be seen and build that connection.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
This has been great.
We're probably going to have you back again for sure. Everybody's going to be like, please have her back. But what are some of our big takeaways? Anybody want to share what one of your takeaways is? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
I really appreciate the fact that you don't have to try so hard to impress a child with your words, but just noticing who they are, who God has created them to be, is absolutely enough. And that's what they need to hear, not my opinion.
I love that reminder that everything you do with the child is done in play. Like, we sometimes want to be like, we have to have a serious conversation right now. But that it's more of a hindrance than it is a benefit. And if you have those conversations in play, however you're doing them, they're more beneficial in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And to remember that the connection is in 90 seconds, right? And 20 times of doing something as opposed to 200, 20 times in play, like you were saying, as opposed to 200. And that those early preschoolers don't have internal speech.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
8 years and under. So we're talking
8 and under.
third graders and under.
Wow. That is just amazing to me.
And that we're helping to shape their internal speech.
Yes.
Yeah. By observing.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, okay. Awesome. And how the connection, just the connection is so powerful, and those 4 pieces to it that make a difference. Yes.
Eye contact,
touch,
presence, in a playful situation.
Okay, kids ministry leaders, you have a lot of work to do. Yes, so much to learn. You can go back and replay and listen again as many times as you need to put these things in practice, because we know God has blessed us with the children that are in our classes, in our groups, at our church, and we want to do the absolute very best for them, to know that they are seen, that they are loved, and that God loves them. So let's make connections and let's build relationships with kids.